Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into the brilliant, terrifying, and honestly deeply tragic mind of Marvel's absolute most complex villain, Victor Von Doom. We're going to trace exactly how a man born with absolutely nothing managed to forge himself into a being whose crazy combination of raw intellect, dark magic, and just sheer unfiltered willpower makes him an undeniably dangerous threat to the entire multiverse. So, when Victor Von Doom says something like, pain is for lesser men, you have to understand it's not just a villainous boast, it's a burial. This is a guy who didn't just endure his trauma, he took it and weaponized it to become an unstoppable force of nature. He basically conquered his pain by sealing it away, guaranteeing that no demon, no literal god, and certainly no phantom from his past could ever reach him again. All right, Section 1, The Scars of Victor, a legacy of cold and demons. To really understand Doom, we've got to start with the devastating childhood wounds inflicted upon him in the harsh mountains of Latveria, because this right here is where the foundation of his unyielding iron will was first poured. His early life is just a relentless sequence of escalating tragedies. It kicks off with him losing his mother to a dark bargain with Mephisto, basically the Marvel Universe's devil. Then his father dies of exposure in the freezing snow just trying to protect him. And that trauma pushes a young Victor to literally vow to fight the devil himself. At 11 years old. All of this obsession culminates years later in a university experiment, where a machine he built to contact his mother's soul explodes right in his face. But here is the agonizing irony of that whole situation. His face wasn't actually ruined by the blast. By most accounts, it was a tiny blemish, literally just a minor scar on his cheek. But Victor's fragile, absolutely massive ego simply couldn't handle the imperfection. He completely refused to accept that he had made a miscalculation, and he just couldn't stomach looking at the physical proof of his failure. And this is the moment that marks his true descent into madness. In an act of pure, unhinged spite, he travels out to a hidden order of monks in Tibet. They forge him an iron mask, but before it can even cool, he takes this red-hot metal and presses it directly onto his own face. He actively chose to become his own worst injury, effectively finishing the job that the explosion never actually did. Which brings us to Section 2, Science Meets Dark Sorcery. The ultimate armor. You see, he didn't just build a suit, he built a literal fortress for his soul, designing an absolutely impenetrable defense against a universe he feels has deeply, deeply wronged him. I mean, the specs on this protection are just staggering. It's this insane fusion of high-tech and dark magic. You've got a nuclear microreactor powering a high-strength titanium shell, but right alongside that, there are Latverian mystic runes etched directly into the inner plates. It's pure techno-sorcery. And honestly, my absolute favorite detail, he actually embedded splinters of the true cross into the armor, just in case he ever had to fight Dracula. Like, the guy is planning for fights you and I haven't even imagined yet. But of course, Doom's paranoia is so absolute that just one suit was never going to be enough. Enter the Doombots. When heroes think they've finally defeated him, it's almost always revealed they were just fighting a flawlessly programmed robotic duplicate. It's the ultimate contingency plan, right? It ensures that his enemies can never, ever truly be sure if they've even met the real Victor Von Doom face to face. And let's say you do manage to destroy his suit and defeat the real Doom. Well, you just triggered his ultimate trap. Using what's called the ovoid mind transfer, he can swap minds with you with just a glance. So he leaves you to die in his ruined body, while he just walks away wearing yours. It's wild. Even his total defeat is a masterfully orchestrated trap. Let's move into Section 3, the ultimate rivalry. Doom versus Reed Richards, because every god needs a devil, and for Doom, his eternal tormentor is his former university classmate, Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. The relationship is, without a doubt, the defining conflict of Doom's entire life. They are both unparalleled geniuses, but as mirror images, their paths are complete opposites. Doom's visceral hatred is fueled by this really deep, burning jealousy. He envies Reed's family, his happiness, and his status as a true intellectual equal. Where Reed explores the unknown for the betterment of mankind, Doom conquers everything just to exert absolute control. And because of that jealousy, Doom dictates a chilling punishment. He tells Reed, "You shall live out the rest of your days in abject fear."
You see, he doesn't just want to kill Reed and the Fantastic Four. No, that would be way too easy, too merciful. He wants them to live in total irrelevance, stranded on a forgotten island somewhere, or stripped of their powers, forced to bear witness to his supreme superiority. To Doom, irrelevance is the real death.
Which sets up Section 4 perfectly. The God Emperor, the apex of power. This covers Doom's relentless, chilling ascent from a mere mortal to literal divinity. Because, let's face it, ruling a country, or even a planet, was never going to be enough for a guy like this.
His ascent to divinity is just a staggering climb. Like, on day 1, he casually steals the power cosmic from the Silver Surfer. But it gets so much darker. By year 3, he commits the deeply horrifying act of sacrificing his only love, Valeria, to dark demons. He explicitly turns her flesh into mystical armor just to gain a tactical edge. His ambition has absolutely zero moral ceiling, and it eventually culminates in him stealing the power of the Beyonders. These are beings who had literally slaughtered the universe's top cosmic entities.
So when the entire multiverse collapses, Doom is the only one with the will to step into the void. He takes that stolen power and literally stitches fragments of dead realities back together into a single patchwork planet called Battleworld. And in this new reality, he is the unquestioned God Emperor. His face is miraculously healed, he wears this pure white armor, and just to twist the knife, he alters reality so that Reed Richards' family actually belongs to him.
But as we know, absolute power invites absolute challengers. When the mad titan Thanos actually dared to challenge Doom's divinity, telling him, "You are not God, you are just a man wearing stolen power," Doom didn't monologue. He didn't panic. He answered by simply reaching out and crushing Thanos' skull into dust with a single hand, mid-conversation. It's just a breathtaking display of unimaginable authority.
So we arrive at Section 5, the tragedy of Doom, the fatal flaw. Yet even with all of creation bowing at his feet, even with Thanos reduced to ash and reality bending to his every whim, Doom's perfect reality possessed one massive, unavoidable crack. When Reed Richards finally confronted him on Battleworld, the climax wasn't some huge fistfight. It was one with words. Reed pushed the exact button that always breaks Victor, his deep-seated insecurity. He forced Doom to finally confess, "You would have been the better god." And by admitting this out loud, Doom instantly forfeited his stolen omnipotence. His own pride was his undoing.
But true to form, Doom rationalizes his ultimate loss. He later tells Valeria, "I was a god, Valeria. I found it beneath me," which perfectly proves that his hunger for escalation is so deeply pathological that even absolute perfection bored him. Godhood wasn't a challenge, it was a plateau, and Victor Von Doom absolutely despises standing still. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to think about this terrifying paradox. If godhood is beneath him and the world is not enough, what will ever satisfy Victor Von Doom? Because that question guarantees that as long as the multiverse exists, Dr. Doom will never, ever stop trying to conquer it. He is a man perpetually chasing a horizon he can never reach. And honestly, that is exactly what makes him the most dangerous, fascinating figure in the entire Marvel universe. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.